guys? Tambo here with your Week 4 core report. Our cores have been on fire this season, and our guy Hoop nailed the Week 4 strategy, stacking up the Lions and Seahawks game. Hoop went cheap at quarterback, rostering Geno Smith with the double stack of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He then went full onslaught for the game by adding Jamal Williams, TJ Hawkinson, and Josh Reynolds from the Detroit side. Hoop topped off his lineup with several one-offs, including Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, and the Eagles D, racking up a score of 252 DraftKings points with a unique lineup that actually took out a 33-man dupe train, shipping the Hoopster $1 million in the Week 4 Millie Maker. Several of the players from Hoop's lineup appeared in his core plays and cash player pool provided to our premium members, who also had some pretty big weeks. MC won over 3K on DraftKings, Raholman hit for over 5K, Nika hit for over 6K, and Chase Addy NC shipped for over $45,000 on FanDuel. And Hoop isn't the only expert to hit big recently. JT Hayes hit for $20,000 in MLB last week. Big T hit once again, profiting over $33,000 on the NFL Week 4 afternoon slate. And our guy Locks had a huge night, shipping for over $213,000 on the Sunday Night Showdown slate. You can watch all of our experts for free by visiting our YouTube channel and subscribing right now. For our premium content, where you can access all of our core plays, playbook, Discord, premium videos, and more, visit runpuresports.com and sign up for a membership today. At RPS, every sport is included for one low price. Sign up for our premium membership today, and let's keep running pure.
All right, welcome to the show. We are doing something. Are we picking winners? Is that what we're doing today? Because I think we are, because everybody at RPS is picking winners. I mean, we got Millie Maker winners, we got 100K winners, we got the hottest team in daily fantasy sports. NFL, we're really damn good at. And our best sport is about to come, and that is the NBA. And I highly recommend you get in. From what I understand, I just asked a question to the big guys. I say, hey, where's our subs at? And we have been adding just a ton of subscribers for our premium content, and I can't recommend it more. RunPureSports.com. We got so much going on right now. It's all our NFL cores. Big T, JSU, Tambo, AP, Hoop. Hoop's been helping me win money this year, a whole bunch of it. He hit for $1 million. I think Tony just hit for another 100K. Didn't get a thank you for him for Khalil Shakir. He's going to say that he was the one that got on it. No. It was all me. You're welcome, Tony, for your 100K hit. And then not just the DFS side, the bet side. Guess what? NBA is here, and Spread and Tyler, and I think AP's hopping on too. They got their Eastern Conference preview up on the bet side, and they're doing the Western Conference preview too. So tons of stuff going on at RPS. Let's freaking go. We attack 6 games on this show from the betting and DFS sides. And actually, usually I start with Spread on the betting side. Spread, I'm going to start with a 4:00 game, and I'm going to start MANGONE here in a second. Let me tell everybody what games we're going to do. We're going to do Bills and Chiefs. We got to do that one first. Could be the game of the year. Ravens at the Giants. Bucks at Steelers. Oof. But Pickens has got to be in play, right? Bengals Saints as Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow go back to New Orleans, and Cardinals Seahawks. Plus, we'll try and figure something out for the Washington Bears game, which is looking gross. But here are the lines. And I use Bet Rivers just because they pay me to do stuff. We've got the Bills minus 148 on the money line. Chiefs plus 130. This line has shifted now. It's gone from 3 all week back in Kansas City now to the Chiefs plus 2.5. You can get even money there. If you want to buy the half point, you get the Chiefs plus 3 at minus 118. But Mangone, this will be the game of the week. I still think Lamar Jackson will have something to say about being the highest scoring quarterback this week. And who the hell knows who else is going to be in there. But Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, we got to figure out who Mahomes is going to throw to. Talk to me here. This is a DFS bonanza and in all likelihood, the highest owned game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this, like, if you can get that +3, like, I like that +3 a lot. Like, if you told me Josh Allen was at home getting 3, I would like that. Like, it's just like these teams are really close. Obviously, I think the Bills, I think they are the better team if you're on like a neutral field and all, but this is going to be a fun DFS game. We'll talk about at the top. One thing to mention, it's a 425 game. So you're going to gain a lot of information from these 1:00 games where, let's say you build out a bunch of teams, and let's say you look and, I don't know, let's say you go to this early game and you decide to play, J.K. Dobbins at low ownership, right? And J.K. Dobbins goes for an absolute bomb, right? He goes for like 25 DK points. Like, that's great for 5.5K. Now you can slide in and make sure your stacks are more Bill stacks, right? Of Josh Allen, because I think that's going to be the chalkier side. Or let's say you play J.K. Dobbins and you get you 2 DK points and you're not looking pretty. Maybe someone tore their ACL and you're just very upset about it. Switch to Pat Mahomes, because I think he's going to be lower owned. I think most people are going to go to Josh Allen. That's, I think, what the lean is going to be. Curious to see. It's only a $200 price difference, but I think a lot of people just lean that Josh Allen is the guy to pay for every single week. His pieces do feel a lot better because you just don't know exactly where the other pieces are going in Kansas City. Like, if you play a Pat Mahomes stack, would you be surprised for Mecole Hardman to catch 2 touchdowns? No, not totally. Like, I wouldn't be like, wow, that's crazy, but it's just easier to play these Bills options, it feels like. Now, we don't have the injury report on everything. That's one thing we are waiting on. We want to know what's up with Isaiah McKenzie. I assume he ends up playing. Dawson Knox, will he be back in? Certainly a chance that he's going to be, which that could muddy some things up a little bit and not make it as condensed as last week and not as much value. But overall, Josh Allen, great play. Stephon Diggs, really good spend up receiver that if you want to get to on this slate, I think he's a great option. Gabriel Davis, I think his ownership is going to get way more up than last week. So I'm curious to see what that turns to. He's 6.5K, price barely moved up. People saw him have a big game last week. Now they have the confidence to be able to plug him into their lineups because they were uncomfortable doing it before. That's just how people work, right? They're very biased. So I think that his ownership will go up a little bit. Do think McKenzie at 5K could be really interesting though, just because without Crowder being there, it's clear that those are like the top 3 guys. Like, Shakir's fine. He's a solid receiver, but like, they're not going to put him in much more over a guy like McKenzie. I think McKenzie sees way more work just because Shakir kind of fits more of that Gabe Davis type role. Like, they could plug Diggs in the slot at times. It feels like McKenzie, they're going to use him as that like gadget guy to kind of find ways to get him open. And they'll use Diggs in the slot at times. Then Davis is that outside receiver. So that's kind of my takeaway on how they're handling that. I think Dawson Knox would be in play at 3-4, but again, I want to see what his injury status is going to be. We should talk about Travis Kelce. Insane game, right? Who gets 25 receiving yards and then 4 touchdowns? Absolutely an anomaly situation. But 7.8K, you can't ignore him. I mean, the fact that the dude had 4 touchdowns, and on top of having 4 touchdowns, he only had 25 receiving yards. It just shows how much they're scheming him open in the red zone. I don't think people realize, like, people were saying, oh, how do you not double cover Travis Kelce and all this stuff? Dude, they were doing that. They brought a lineman out there to literally jam him and then have the cornerback help out. The reason why Kelce was open a lot in the end zone is because they schemed him open. If you watch the one play that they ran, Holden, I thought it was a fantastic play. They overloaded the box and had Kelce in the inside. They overloaded the 3 guys, so all the cornerbacks are on the outside, and they had Kelce just zoom across the middle where there's no one there, and they have a guy that's manning Pat Mahomes as like the QB spy. And that's why Kelce was wide open. So it was incredible play. And they're scheming him open in many types of ways. So Travis Kelce's touchdown equity, it's strong, especially when he's playing with Juju, Valdez-Scantling, Hardman, Sky Moore. So you have to love Travis Kelce this week. If you can get him on your lineup, sure, but he is 7.8K. Curious to see what his ownership's going to come in at. That's going to be a big conversation point this week. Check out all the content that we have later in the week. I want to hear what they have to say about that. Valdez-Scantling's 4.5, like, that's a crazy price tag. The only thing I will mention though about the Valdez 4.5K price tag, there's a lot of guys that are kind of underpriced, especially in that 5K, 6K range. So maybe the ownership doesn't get there up as much, but I do think that if people play Pat Mahomes and they can't get Kelce, their go-to guy will be Valdez-Scantling, where he might get steamed up a bit. I won't mess around with these Kansas City running backs. I think it's just a giant mistake. I will look to Devin Singletary. I screamed about him a couple weeks ago, Holden. I'm going to scream about him again because he's in a 54 total and he's 5.9K. And
I wanted to know about both sides too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe McKinnon. So keep going on Singletary. If you're on him, then he's got to be on my radar again.
Well, this is why he's got to be on your radar, the Holden, because people might say, oh, why would a running back in the highest total not get a lot of ownership? Well, here's why. Ramondre Stevenson, he's 6K. People are going to play him. He is going to be a very, very chalky play this week. It's just simple. Breece Hall, the dude has literally gotten double digits every game. He's only 5.8K and just had a breakout game. And now he gets to go up against the Green Bay Packers. Like, I mean, the Packers, they don't have a good run D. So that's another guy. Kenneth Walker's 5.4K going up against Arizona at home, going to be the lead back. How does Devin Singletary get that ownership? You get what I'm saying? Like Alvin Kamara's at 6'6". Singletary will get lost in the shuffle again. Don't ignore him. He's a great tournament play. He's a running back on a team that is just going to get a ton of volume in the pass game and run game. And yes, people will see last week and be like, well, he didn't get a lot of work last week. Well, they were winning by a lot and he didn't score any of the early touchdowns. So what do you expect him to do? That's why James Cook was in the game. That's why James Cook scored a touchdown. So love Devin Singletary. I really don't like that running back situation in Kansas City. I do get that Edwards-Helaire could just keep scoring touchdown after touchdown, but I just think there's too many strong running backs in that 6K range where I'm just not going to take the chance on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I guess the one argument you could make for a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I wouldn't hate, if you decided to like full on game stack a situate like this game, and he was in there as like a bring back, like let's say you played Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kelsey, and then you played like Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie, like you could see like the just big stack of just like jamming everyone in together. You could see if this game ends up going for like the final score is like 51-45, there's a chance Clyde gets in the box. So maybe like the full on condensed game stack of it would be the only way that I played a Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All right. Welcome to the show, Spread a Stare. As I previously mentioned, the spread's gone from 3 to 2.5 in this game. Again, you can still buy the point if you want to get, or the half a point to get the 3. So let's discuss this for a minute. 2.5 to 3. To me, huge difference, right? What's your thoughts on buying points if you want to buy the half point?
Do not buy points. The amount of time, it only lands there on a game that's between 2.5 and 3.5. It only lands there 10% of the time, and you're going to pay 20 cents to move to that number. No. There's no way. Take a stand on this game. If anything, sell. If anything, right? Take the money line. I mean, I don't like buying points at all. It doesn't justify it. And there's a reason they offer it to you, right? So I would not buy the points. And I think the market move is absolutely correct. You're telling me these teams are Buffalo Bills are 5 points better on a neutral field. I understand they've been absolutely blowing teams out. And hey, Tyler and I are working and we're mixing what we see with the math. And the math is absolutely loving the Buffalo Bills because they put away these teams. And Travis is going to love this for the DFS side. Josh Allen's throwing. They have 31 points on the board. They're up by 28 points. He's still out there throwing. Might shorten his career, but for now, it's great for DFS and it's great if you're trying to cover the spread. Regardless, I think this leads to us a team, the Buffalo Bills, that are being overvalued going into a matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think you got to kind of throw the numbers out and look at how these teams operate. What do the Bills do best on defense? They get pressure on the quarterback. Mahomes is able to handle that pressure. He's mobile. He likes pressure. He likes being on the move. He likes backyard football. I think this is a great matchup. And I want to know from Travis, you were talking about a huge high-scoring game. It's tough for me to want to take overs in these high profile games. And I'm looking at a total of 54, but you sound like you think this game's going over. I'm fine staying away from the total because my numbers have it as an under, but who wants to bet an under in this game?
No, not
even if
game.
There's an edge. It's not worth it for my heart. It's not worth it for the stress levels. It's not worth it for my enjoyment of life. So I'm not going to bend the under, but Travis, do you think this game goes over?
So this is one thing that happens in these games all the time, Spread. It depends how the game goes, right? Like, let's say that Josh Allen and the Chiefs get up 21-0, right? Like they get up early. Well, now Pat's throwing a lot and he's going to keep the pressure on. And then once they get a couple scores, like, the Bills then have to feel like they have to put that pressure on. The problem is when these games, like they kind of like, let's say you get the halftime spread and it's like 14-10, right? And like, let's say the Chiefs then get up 17-14, what happens is like, they just start playing tight and they just like, I want to keep your quarterback off the field and just kind of like, they just try and like run the ball and then like look for the high leverage third downs. And like that fourth quarter can get ugly in these games when you have these like two really good teams. It goes one way or another. It either shoots out like crazy or the one team gets up and they just try and hold their best with the lead and try and keep the other guy off the field. Yes, they trust in their quarterback to make plays and get the job done, but they also understand they want to hold the ball at the end of the game, right? They don't want to give the ball back to Josh Allen. They understand how that works. So spread, I'm okay never betting these over-unders. Like, I'm okay just like watching from the sideline and loading up on DFS if I want to. But there are definitely routes where this game can go under. I agree. There are routes where it can go that way. Do you agree it's like kind of the way I said it? Because that's what I've noticed when you get these two juggernaut teams together. It either shoots out or you get the one team that just decides to, hey, we're up late in the game and we're going to bleed some clock out. And one reason why they can do that is the defenses are not good. And that's why we think it's going to shoot out. And that's why they can just kind of run the ball on them. They get to a 3rd and 3. Mahomes, he doesn't play action or something. He finds the guy that's open or schemes the guy open. And then they get the first and they walk up to the line and kill another 30 seconds.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I thought the running backs from this game were so fascinating, because there's a chance they could just get more usage than we expect. So I enjoyed your breakdown, and I can't wait to hear what the rest of the Run Pure team thinks this week.
Here's another thing I want to talk about. This is a good segue, Holden, because I think you'll like this too. Instead of fading this game on the main slate, right? I think a lot of people, and yes, there's different prize pools in the afternoon slate than the main slate. Totally agree. But do you understand how much value you're going to get if you play the afternoon slate and you fade this game? Everyone is loading up on this. Now, I'm not saying I would fade it. I think it's similar to the Bucks game of last week, where a lot of people were saying, oh, I don't want to play this like Brady stack. It's going to be chalky. And I kind of agreed. I don't need to play the Brady stack. I don't think it's the best stack, but you know what's still good? The price tags on these guys, and we have to get exposure, whether it's Leonard Fournette, whether it's Chris Godwin. I think getting exposure to the game is smart. I think getting exposure to this game, it will be smart. But if you're the guy that wants to get real crazy and be like, I want to full fade this game, go play the afternoon slate, because the ownership will be insane on that game. Yes, there's not as many pieces, but you do have the option to go to the Arizona-Seattle game, which will still be very low owned, because everyone's just going to be jamming, and I mean absolutely jamming, this KC Bills game on that afternoon slate. And there's the Rams game too, right? I mean, there's Christian McCaffrey in that Rams game. There's Cooper Kupp. There's guys to spend on. So afternoon slate, if you want to like really get crazy and fade some ownership, that's probably the spot I do it. On the main slate, I just don't think you're going to need to do it as much, mainly because ownership gets more spread out. I don't think you gain as much for doing it. Yes, the prize pools are not as big, but I think you're going to want pieces of this game like the Bucks last week. You can still win GPPs by playing Leonard Fournette, by playing an Evans or a Godwin. Like, there are ways that this game, you want them to be on your team, but maybe you don't want to have the same exact stack as everyone. Or maybe you go the other way. I'm a full-on stack this thing up, and I'm going to gain some lower ownership guys and just have more than the field and call it a day.
So my pivot game is going to be the Ravens and the Giants, and we'll get into that in just a second. But I do want to ask our guys and girls in the chat, throw it out there. What are you guys thinking from this Bills Chiefs game? Whether it be a side, whether it be a total, whether it be DFS, anybody you're fading, anybody you must get into your lineups, hit us up in the chat. I'm looking forward to getting your thoughts on this, because I want to kind of take the pulse on what's going on. Also, what's up, guys? Bill Miner's here. Always love to see Bill. You guys talking about my hair again. It's very uncomfortable. Matthew Caramana. Nice, Kevin. Yeah, we'll keep going with this, man, because I want to show, I do have gray hair. Everybody says I dye my hair. I don't, Spread. I don't dye my hair. Spread, you murdered anyone lately?
No, I haven't been hiking since the last time we talked. So
it's unfortunate.
Hopefully I can go tomorrow.
Old Guys Pod coming up tonight. Looking forward to that. We'll drop it tomorrow. It's the podcast sweeping the nation. And then the other thing that I want to let you know, how about we hit the like button and hit the subscribe button? Our subscribers are going through the roof. Our premium subscribers and our YouTube subscribers. So hit us up, bottom right-hand corner. Do that. Alexander Bayer's locking in Patty Mahomes at 4%. Is Lamar Jackson going to be higher owned than Patrick Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes? Like Mangone.
Yeah, Allen will be higher owned than Pat Mahomes for sure.
And what about Lamar Jackson?
Lamar is going to be unowned.
Beautiful. Because that's who I'm going to. And that's the game that we're going to go to next. The Ravens at the Gigantes. Ravens at the Giants. So the Giants have been playing really good football. No doubt about it. Gave out Lamar's over 56.5 rushing prop. One of the last plays of the game, he gets to 58. I was like, whew, finally got off the schneid. Giants plus 5.5 at home. Ravens minus 230. Giants plus 200. 45 is the total here spread. I know the Giants have been playing some good football. They got a hell of a good coach at Daboll, right? 5.5 points on the road for the Ravens. That's a lot of points on the road. Talk to me here. Side, total, any interest?
Let's give the bookmakers credit on this one. They've effectively priced the Ravens out of a game.
Correct.
In which I really like them. I think they're going to win here. The Giants, of course, got that miracle. Were you up for it, Holden? I'm a sicko. I get up and I watch those games. But
you're West Coast, right?
Yeah.
And I'm Mountain Time. Of course I watch those games. I don't miss a football game.
It's starts at 6:30 with me with my morning coffee. Love it. But hey, that's a lot of travel for the Giants. And how long can they keep this up? Interesting wrinkle here, or is it a winkle with Wink Martindale, of course, playing against his old team? That should be a fun matchup there. These Giants are high, and I've continually underestimated them, which is why I'm kind of happy that the books put a price up, which I can stay away in good conscience. If I want to make a look on this game, maybe the over 45 here. The Ravens defense has not been that good, and the Giants have shown that Brian Daboll has improved this offense. They're using all this weapons, and even with absolutely no weapons, right? I mean, we talk about the lack of weapons in Green Bay, the lack of weapons on the Patriots, but the Giants are doing it with smoke and mirrors as well. So you have to give Daniel Jones and you have to give Saquon Barkley, Brian Daboll credit. So I actually like the over here because I think this Giants offense is being a little underrated. I think the Ravens will score, and they have shown they can give up a big lead too. That secondary has not been able to put together 4 quarters, except for on the Sunday night game. Regardless here, I'm staying away from the side. I like the over on the total.
All right. So DFS wise, like I told you, Mangone, every week, Lamar Jackson could be the highest scoring quarterback. I get it. Giants are better. And actually Lamar hasn't done much these last 2 weeks, has he? He went off for a couple 40 burgers and he hasn't gotten past 15 points these last 2 weeks, Buffalo and Cincinnati. So I'm still buying into this guy. Bateman is not practicing, so we might have another Duvernay week. We've got Mark Andrews. If everybody's gonna be on Kelsey, Mark Andrews is gonna be sitting right there. He has the upside that Kelsey has, and maybe after a 4-touchdown game, maybe Mark Andrews outscores a Kelsey that just doesn't step up enough. So let's start at quarterback. I don't know if you have any interest in Daniel Jones, but I have a lot of interest in Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. Talk to me here. What's your interest in Baltimore and the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing to note about this game is like no one's gonna like want to play it, right?
Good.
It's the simple reason is there's the other games to go to, right? Like, can I interest you in a Pat Mahomes Kelsey stack or a Lamar Jackson Mark Andrews? Like, I'm curious to see what the ownership difference is going to be, because it could be different enough where I think it's interesting to look at and consider. One reason why I don't mind it is the Ravens are on the road. And I guess the one thing that's really encouraging about this Giants team, not that I like this Giants team, like but I like the coach, right? And I talk about how sometimes in DFS we can invest in coaching.
Yes.
And we can invest in the Ravens offense because this Giants offense, it may not be the best, but based on the Ravens defense, and I think based on the Giants coaching staff, they are able to do enough, I think, to put enough pressure on Lamar to force him to play most of the game, right? And actually like maybe capture that ceiling. Like I don't like this is the big issue people debated with last week about the Bills was they were worried about, can Kenny Pickett push it enough, right? And he didn't even have to. Like Kenny Pickett wasn't great and it didn't matter. But that was one thing that I thought was really interesting with the Steelers. I know Big T talked about it on the Sunday Wood show, and I kind of had the same sentiment. I was like, I think Pickett's good enough where he could, like, and I'm not saying you need it, but like, let's say that the Steelers do put up 20 points, right? Well, then Josh Allen's going to keep going. And like the Giants are a good enough team where they are, I think, going to keep enough pressure on Lamar, where I think you could see that massive game from him. You will see this offense, I think, on the Giants side of the ball, moving the ball enough. That doesn't mean I want to invest in Richie James and the funky bunch that they got there, but maybe Barkley, like I don't hate that, but a Barkley, Lamar, Andrew stack, it just gets expensive, where I think if you do decide to play this team, and I believe Bateman will be back, I'm not sure. I think the best way to invest in it is maybe going Lamar Jackson and like Mark Andrews. And just like, that's it. Not even grabbing the run back. Don't even think it's like that necessary because tight end is too deep. We did see last week, you didn't need a run back last week. I also felt like last week, you didn't have to do the run back if you didn't want to. I don't think it's a necessary thing to do, especially when the reason you're playing Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, the reason you're playing them is because they can just break away from their position. Lamar can get you 40 DK points while the next highest score is at like 32 or 30, and you separate by 10 points. Mark Andrews can separate from the field and get you like 30 DK points while maybe Travis Kelce only gets 18 and he's the second highest score. Now you separated 12 DK points. So I think overall this Ravens stack is in play. It's mainly Lamar, Andrews, and then just calling it a day. I want to see what the ownership is. I want to compare it to Kelce and Mahomes and then look at everything from there. I think it's in the conversation this week, though. You can't ignore it. And I think every week you just can't ignore it. You have to at least look at it and say, is this worth it? Or are there other routes that are better? Sometimes there's spots we can just write off. We're like Baker Mayfield. Nah, Panthers offense, I'm out. But this is a spot every week you say, we know what Lamar's ceiling is. We know what Andrew's ceiling is. And we know how much they can separate at the position that you just have to consider it. And I'm considering it this week. I just need to know the ownership.
Depending on your philosophy on punting, if you did want to run back, depending on the injury situation, Marcus Johnson got 3 targets last week and he's 3K. So it's that would be, I mean, you'd have to get fancy right there, but if you're into a run back, but I'm with you, Mangone. I don't think you need a run back in this game. That's 2 of the 6 games we're going to get into. We're taking our time today. We had to take our time in that Chiefs Bills game, though. That's going to be absolutely
Holden, the key on the Johnson thing you said that I think could be interesting is like, if you played Lamar, Andrews, and then Johnson, you might be able to actually get a really interesting, then you load up your receivers with Diggs and like a Scantling and like maybe like a McKenzie. And then like, you still get like a lot of exposure to that game, but in a very unique way where how many people will play 2 of the receivers and one of the receivers in the game stack and then not play the quarterback? Not many people will do that. And can Lamar outscore both of them? Even if both get 35 DK points? Yeah, Lamar could get 45. We just know that dude has the ability to do that. So that 3K option could open up a route where you're able to get those guys. If you saw on Big T's core this past weekend, Big T's core had a punt option that got him Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and all these studs. And yes, that cheap option sometimes doesn't have to be the highest score or the best value on the slate, but if it captures these raw point plays that just absolutely bust the slate open, then you need the guy that got like 10 DK points at 3K to help make that equation work.
Well, just get ready because if McKenzie's out again, Tupac Shakur is getting his run again, and he should be 100% owned. He's going to own the slot. I don't understand how you don't lock him in there. But again, we got a 3K. We got a 3K play in that game. And honestly, the early week build for me, I want Lamar, Andrews, and Kelce. I want a double tight end this week. I think those guys have every bit the upside of most of the wide receivers. But we'll get into that, get some more thoughts from Mangone. Spread. We'll continue going with these games. We just did the Ravens Giants. We did the Bills Chiefs. We got the Bucs Steelers, Bengals Saints, Cards Seahawks, and Thursday night football as well. Want to remind you, like button would be great. We'd really appreciate it. And you will make Simon's day. You will make his day. If you're new to the show, Simon's our executive producer back there, and it just makes him really happy. Our team's on fire. There's nobody better in the business. Everybody seems to just be taking stuff down here at RPS. Great time to get in. We'll give you the core plays. So many of our analysts give their core plays. You get Tony, Big T's whole player pool and his number 1 lineup with the cores. All you got to do is figure out 3 spots. Tambo's on fire. You get his stuff. JSU, whole player pool. Mangone, Hoop with the playbook and the cash chart. Hoop has been probably on fire more than anybody so far. Tony's got like the 5-year heater. Hoop is just consistently terrific. Takes down the Millie Maker. AP, I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody because I have a respect for most of you. I mean, then again, there's a couple of guys here at RPS like Mikey. Come on, Mikey, you lost head to head to me. I can't give you a shout out, but I did at least give you the right name this time. Usually I call him Mickey or Slappy or whatever the hell his name is. So I had to give Mikey a little shout out. Can't lose a head to head to the host, Mango. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, but don't do that to my boy Mikey. Don't call him Slappy. That's a little disrespectful. At least.
Well, okay. I usually call him like Matty or something like that.
That's fine. Mikey's my boy. Yeah, he's. A
I know he is.
Actually. He's a
Mikey's a nice guy, but again, until he takes me down head to head, I can't give him any love. So here we go. Let's get back into this thing. We've got the Bucks and the Steelers. Whew. All right, spread. Bucks 8-point favorites on the road against the Steelers team, which looks like a complete debacle. I could pick off a couple of DFS plays, but I don't know about a betting here. 43.5 is the total. You know, the Steelers their offense was predicated on the run. Najee Harris, his foot's bothering him, man. We might see more Jaylen Warren. Maybe that's more of a DFS conversation. Pickens is starting to set up, but do you see anything from Kenny Pickett that makes you want to back the Steelers as 8-point dogs at home?
I actually like Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
But I don't like the offensive line. And I don't like their ability to get stops in this game. So unfortunately, as much as I love touting Mike Tomlin's greatness on our shows across Frontier Sports, I can't do it this week. And it's unfortunate what's going on there. Their inability to block has really cost that Najee Harris. I know he went high in season-long fantasy leagues, and his prices continue to drop on DraftKings as not only has his usage got less and less, but the Steelers have continually shown that they have not been able to block. You're absolutely right about Jaylen Warren. Tomlin said that he does expect him to get more work. Look for a more running back by committee thing there, whether that's the offensive line or the injury, not sure. But regardless, we should see a lot more Jaylen Warren. Man, you know, I would have loved to get up here and pick the Steelers today. It's a spot that we usually love, Holden, right? Grabbing a bunch of points at home, a team with a good coach. And like I said, I'm not necessarily down on Pickett. I'm just down on this offense's ability to compete overall. And we've seen how much, and I talked about it, not on a show, actually, it was with a friend on a phone call, but I said, these edge rushers now are almost like quarterbacks where a good one can make the whole side of the ball good. You get one good rusher, one good pass rusher, you know, you get a Micah Parsons, right? You get a Joey Bosa, right? A Khalil Mack. It makes the whole rest of the 10 guys look good. And we're seeing this in reverse here with the Steelers not having TJ Watt. They have yet to win a game since he's been out in his career. So it shows you how much he means to this team. Until he comes back, I'm not going to be able to back this Steelers defense. And it saddens my heart to say this, Holden, but Tampa Bay's the right side.
Woo, 8 on the road. The Steelers have fallen fast, man. That Tomlin's going to have his losing season. It's happening right in front of our eyes. Hey, are you jealous, by the way? I'm going to start doing a show with George Karl once a week. Are you jealous of me since I get to do
ex-Sacramento Kings coach, George
the
Karl?
ex-Sonics coach. I just got the go-ahead. His ex-girlfriend was my barber, so we kind of, she used to put her hands on him. Now she put her hands on my hair. You know, we're kind of like Eskimo brothers.
I don't even know what to say to that. Holden, congratulations.
Mangone, thank you very much. Mangone, you mentioned this Tampa Bay team a little bit. So we got Godwin, we got Evans, we got Brady, we got Fournette, who continues to just roll. We got our boy Otten, who stepped up and had a nice week last week. I think he starts getting run anyways with Brady in there. I think he's a legitimate option. On the other side of things, Pickens remains fairly cheap, right? And is there anybody else from that team you want to, Deontay maybe? What do you got? What do you got in this one? Because I think there's some plays.
Yeah, I mean, before we dive into that, one thing I would not want to be is Eskimo brothers with George Karl, but we are at different ages.
Why?
Because he's 60 something and I'm 31. So
I mean, it's really not Eskimo brothers.
I know,
it's just that, hand Eskimo brothers.
But if I was, I wouldn't want it with George Karl. Like that.
I feel like I should Homer Simpson meme right now, right back into the.
Have you gotten with any girls in Denver? Because if so, you're probably my Eskimo brother.
I always, whenever I talk to any girls, Holden, what I do is I do a fact check. I go on their Instagram, see if they followed you at all. I do all the screenings to make sure I make sure they're at least within like a 15-mile radius away from your house. Hopefully that helps.
No, that doesn't help. Who's your Eskimo brother play of the day from this one though? Break it down, Mangone. I'm actually interested in a few plays from this game.
I mean, this game, I'll admit, like when you kind of fired this one up on the schedule, I was like, okay, I'm struggling with the Steelers. I don't know what to do on that side. So if anything, it's Pickens, but that's it at 4-6, but they're going to be trailing. But I just think it's going to be a tough sled in here for this Steelers team. I'm not dying to play Tom Brady here at 6-3. I get it. Like you could do a stack of it. I think it'd be fine and you could run it literally just without having a run back. And I think it could easily work because the Bucs could put up a lot of points. For me, it's mainly Leonard Fournette at 7.4. I think he's a pretty good play. Mike Evans at 7K. I think he's in the conversation too as like a one-off, and Godwin at 6-1. One thing I might do with this game, actually, and I don't mind Otten in cash games, tournaments. I think he's fine too at 2.9 just for what he does for your full lineup. But one thing I might do with this game, when I am a me, right, I might just say, hey, Tampa Bay Bucks, max of 1. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea. Just like max of 1 of these guys. You don't want to get too much of them. You don't want the out though pushing in a Fournette and an Evans. Like, so that's maybe what I'll do, because I don't know how much Brady I'm really going to get to this week. So overall, I really see myself maybe just playing a max of 1 guy on the Bucs side, and the guys in the conversation, they're Fournette because of the volume that he's seeing. It's just insane. Mike Evans, because we know what the ability he has. Chris Godwin, price is just too cheap at 6.1K, and we know how good of a player he is. And then Cade Otton as a punt option at 2.9K. The Bucs have a pretty good total. It's around 26. They're going to put up points. Some of these guys are going to score. Just depends on if they're going to be the best scoring position at the value or at that position that week.
Wonderful. All right. We got through that one. 3 games down, 3 to go. Spread. I'm heading right into the next one. It's going to be the Bengals visiting the Saints. So we got Jamar Chase going back home. We got Burrow going back there. We got the Saints that are 1.5 point home dogs. 43 is the total here. Saints plus 110 on the money line, minus $1.24 for the Bengals. Whew. Saints getting 1.5. Can I interest you in that?
No, absolutely not. You know, it's funny, Holden.
Next game.
Speaking of being out in Denver, right? How much is Nathaniel Hackett just providing cover, right? What's the meme where the guys, one kid's sleeping and the other guy's taking all the arrows and the bullets?
Oh my God.
I feel like Hackett's doing that for a lot of these coaches. And think about how we'll be talking about Josh McDaniels and another failed Raiders coach, Dennis Allen, who's now, I think, 10-31 as a head coach. So, Sean Payton, he's not. And I really thought that he would be able to step in, take over. They had Pete Carmichael run the offense. I thought it would be a smooth transition. He continued to run the defense. Is it the coaching, or is it simply the fact that this team can't stay healthy? We were hoping to see some Jameis Winston here. He played through injury, give him credit, but he was hurting his team. Now they've made the switch to Andy Dalton, but we've seen what Andy Dalton is at this point of his career. Alvin Kamara in and out of the lineup, and when he has been in there, he's definitely been hurt. Michael Thomas in and out of the lineup hasn't made an effect either. I know that Travis is going to mention Olave, but Olave himself is not going to beat a Cincinnati Bengals team that I think is coming to find itself. Look at the Cincinnati Bengals. They completely overhauled their offensive line in the offseason. That's going to take a little time to mesh. That's going to take a little time for those guys to get together. So I think they're going to continually outperform their previous metrics as this season continues and these guys get back on the same page here. So it's tough taking another road favorite, but I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow. All right. We'll go with the Bengals here. On the other side, this is from the top of my head. I should look it up, but I'm not going to. I thought Jamar Chase started off a little slow last year. Maybe he had a big game early on, but really didn't start taking off till the second half. We're still waiting for this guy to just go bananas. Did he do it week 1? Was that it this year? He went one of the weeks. He had a nice week. And since then, he's just not done much.
He had 31 against the Steelers. They had the trailing script and they had overtime, I think, against the Steelers.
Week 1?
Week 1. And then he's fed double digits every single week since. Last year, I believe it was the whole he can't catch narrative, right? Yeah. And then I think he busted out for a big game the first one, but he stormed out late in the season, just like that entire Bengals offense. But one of the keys that we kind of need to think a little bit about and talk about is what's up with this Bengals offensive line? How much do we trust them? Because if you don't have an offensive line, I don't know, you kind of don't have an offense, right? I mean, it's brutal. So they're going to need that offensive line to start playing better. A matchup against the Saints, could this be the spot? You obviously get them in a dome, which is very nice. Be able to get this team there. You get the old Jamar Chase back in Louisiana narrative. Same with Joe Burrow, right? They played a couple of games in that LSU stadium or two. So I'm sure they're going to be in play as an option. But I think overall, this stack is interesting. I think Jamar Chase is going to be a pretty good option up top that people, not that they for sure ignore, but they might get lost in the shuffle a little bit. And he's 7.7K. I like spending on Chase this week. So I think he's going to be a really good tournament play for me. One that I definitely look to key in on a little bit. So like Jamar Chase a lot. think you can go to T. Higgins too as well if you want to. I know he's dealing with that injury though, so people are a little worried about that. He might not be okay, and he might not even play. And if he doesn't play at 6.3K, Tyler Boyd at 5.1 becomes interesting. Mike Thomas at 3K, who we saw run some more routes, becomes intriguing. Also, if T. Higgins doesn't play, Hayden Hurst at 3.3. I mean, there's some volume that can go there. And how much is really going to go to Mike Thomas or Tyler Boyd compared to maybe Hayden Hurst gets a little more opportunity? Like, it's going to get spread out a bit, and it's going to help each guy based on their price tag. But I think Hayden Hurst at 3.3 could be a very interesting tight end option. I mean, you talk about Cade Otton at 2.9. We don't know that much about Cade Otton, but Hayden Hurst, we know, is a legit player. And I think 3.3K is a really nice price tag on him. So I think he's going to be someone that I look to go to. I'm not dying to play Joe Mixon. There's other running backs I like in the 5 and 6K range that I prefer. But overall, the Burrow Chase stack, really interesting to me. I need to know T. Higgins' full status and how that ankle is doing, but I think he's really good. And don't mind Hayden Hurst. On that flip side, though, do we know Holden yet about Jameis Winston? Is it him or is it Andy Dalton?
We don't know yet.
Okay, so we don't know about that. The key is, like, who knows if Andy Dalton's in there, like, good luck playing him, because Taysom Hill could easily just be out there running around. We also don't know about Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Jarvis Landry. But the reason to talk about this game, which is important, is let's say Olave misses, Thomas misses, and Landry, or let's say even just 2 of them miss. Well, that opens up opportunities for Marcus Callaway at 3.9, Traquan Smith at 3.7. Marcus Callaway was someone that people did have ownership on last week. Like, he did get played, but he could be a good value again, and could be a little bit of a flop lag spot at 3.9K. So I think he's interesting. And then we got to talk about Alvin Kamara. I talked about, hey, there's other 6K running backs that I like this week. Alvin Kamara is one of them. Look at the volume that he gets, right? He is 6.7K, and he got 23 rush attempts, 6 targets, almost got the bonus on receiving yards, and got it on rushing yards. Yes, he barely got there on the rushing yards, but also he got vultured by Taysom Hill. The thing I like is the volume's there, and yes, maybe he doesn't have the same exact games scoring-wise when it comes to the receiving and the rushing yards, but is there a chance maybe Taysom Hill doesn't score 4 touchdowns or however many he scored, and instead Alvin Kamara scores? Yes, certainly possible. So a lot to like on this Saints side, but we need to wait on some of that injury news. That's going to be a key thing to look at, and I'm sure you guys will discuss that on the News Dump show on Friday.
I wonder if they're going to run the ball like they have been when Jameis comes back, or do they go back to just letting him fling it? Because they have really committed to the run these last couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see what the game plan is there for the Saints. Okay. 2 more games, Cards and Seahawks, and then Thursday night football. Yeesh. Joey Work has been on a heater too, Bill Miner. Joey Work has been on a heater too. He's got to play for tonight's game with the Dodgers and Padres. We might not get this Braves game in. I hope they do, though. God, playoff baseball is awesome. Okay. Winning the Millie doesn't make you a millionaire. Alex Bayer. You're right, because you got to pay like 53% of taxes, but it still makes you live a little more comfortably. I think it's quite an accomplishment. Like, how lucky do you get? Like we know Hoop is on the Mount Rushmore DFS. How lucky do you need to get to win a Millie Maker, though?
I mean,
Travis.
You always, I think anytime you win a tournament, you have to get lucky, right?
I know.
The key is putting yourself in position to get lucky, right? That's what we talk about a lot here at Run Pure Sports. And that's what we can do for you. We can help you get in position to win those big prize pools. And I think what we do the best of is trying to get you in the position the most times a year, right? Let's say you play baseball. There's 162 games, right? We're not going to get you to the top leaderboard 162 of the days. We're just not, right? But if we get you there, like between 5 and 10, hope one time you just kind of get lucky and fall into that. That's what it's all about. It's about trying your best to get up to the top as many times as possible, get as many top 1% lineups, and then you got to hope to get lucky. So that's kind of the way it works.
I just saw something cross here. Dalvin Cook fired up to play his first NFL game in his hometown of Miami. So you got that narrative going for you if you guys are interested in that game. We're not going to talk about it, though. We're going to go to the Cards and the Seahawks because we just can't avoid what's going on with Seattle. They are an amazing offense with Geno Smith, and they are a horrific defense. I don't know, spread. I don't know if the worst defense in the history of the world is enough to make Kyler Murray a competent quarterback, but God, he looks like shit. Cards 2.5-point favorites on the road. Seahawks plus 123 on the money line, 51 healthy total here spread. Boy, it's tough to bet an under in a Seahawks game. Let's just start with that total of 51. It's juiced a little more to the under at 113.
You already basically got my handicap. This is very simple. You said it. The Seahawks have a very competent offense and a terrible defense. And are we too impressed with the Cardinals defense either? I'm not personally. So I think the over is one of my favorite plays. And sometimes when we look at these numbers, they look tricky. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. This looks too easy. I think this is a case where I was surprised. I thought this number was going to be 54. I'm really surprised that with this Seahawks defense, this number's that low. And unfortunately for our guy, our Kyler haters, this will be a great get back win for him. But let's stay on brand here. I'm also going to take the Seahawks plus 2.5 here. I think they're just playing great. I love their ability to get the win at home. I think they're going to look so much better at home. I think it's going to help their defense a lot. Not enough to keep the game under, but it's going to help the Seahawks when they need it here. I'm on the over, and I'm going to take the home underdog.
I mean, that's the problem spread. The over just looks too simple. Like I'm almost tricked by it, right? Doesn't this have to go up to?
I mean, the Seahawks will be 4-1 if your favorite team didn't fumble on the goal line every game. The Seahawks, I mean, these games go over. These totals might be like 57 by the end of the year.
Yeah, this is definitely going to 51 and a hook. This is not.
Yeah, get it now. Get it now. It opened at 50. And then the market's moving it up, and the market's absolutely right.
Mangone, let's just the betting side real quick. Thoughts on the total here at 51?
51 on which game are we on again? The Cardinals Seahawks?
Yes, Travis.
I'm just making sure. I mean, I said the right game. I just want to double check.
I mean, I haven't even flaked out yet. So you win the contest today.
Yeah, today.
I can't make fun of you because my own history, but
yeah, I was making some Twitter comments. I posted some GIFs.
Yeah, what were you saying on Twitter?
My friend whose house I'm at, he asked if there'll be a special appearance, and he's saying his dad basically, and I was like, and then I posted the GIF, the old oh dear God.
I should not have asked.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think of the total? 51. Like, are you expecting a ton of points in this game? With shitty Kyler.
I am, yes. Okay. And the reason why I'm expecting a lot of points is the Seattle defense is bad. Like, it's not good. It's just egregious. I talked about it on the Tuesday show. I basically said, and Warren Sharp had talked about it last week. He said, like, I think I might be butchering the stat. You know, if you want to find it, go find Warren Sharp's Twitter. He's a very sharp dude. Love looking at his football stuff. But basically mentioned how whenever there's like a yards after the tackle, right? Once contact is made, there's dead last in the league is the Seattle Seahawks, but they're not just dead last, Holden, right? They're dead last by like giving up 3 yards after. And then the next second worst team, theirs is like 1.8 or 1.7. Like, it's just egregiously bad. Like, if you looked at like rankings, you'd be like, oh, well, they're the worst, but second worst must be this, and it's not as bad. No, it's an egregious amount. This defense is absolutely terrible. They're so bad that the Cardinals on the road in Seattle, one of the tougher places known to play in football, their implied totals at 27. On top of that, when's the last time you saw a 51 total, Holden? A 51 total in Seattle.
If you're interested in betting this, I found a 50.5 on PointsBet. So you don't see it. You don't see it, Mango.
Do they pay you too?
No.
Oh.
So I'm not ignoring this one. I'm just not. I'm not ignoring this game. It's a really good DFS game. Betting wise too, points are going to be scored. So if you look at the DFS side though, Kyler Murray's 7-3, kind of in like this like dead zone. I don't think people want to go to as much. Marquise Brown, I mean, he's been phenomenal, right? Like, and if you look, I mean, the Cardinals, I believe it's going to be a close game. I mean, yes, they've been trailing a lot, and I assume they're probably going to be like, one thing we could do, which isn't a bad bet, maybe bet Seattle like first quarter, because like Cliff Kingsbury is just like literally the stone worst. The Cardinals have 0 points scored in the first quarter. Maybe this is somehow the week that it turns around, but I think it's just Cliff Kingsbury's play calling is so bad. So maybe like making wagers on Seattle in the first quarter, even first half, not bad bets because Cliff Kingsbury puts them in a bad spot.
What do you think about the idea that these defensive linemen are just fresh and after 3 quarters of chasing around Kyler, it gets rough? I kind of think
he doesn't even run till the fourth quarter is the whole thing. He doesn't run.
I don't think it's all just that. I think it's Cliff Kingsbury.
I hate Kingsbury too, but I think that there is something that should be said about how he really only looks good when the defenses are tired. I mean, you talk about playing a ball control offense. I think that, that keep the ball away from them just so your defense can't get tired. It does have some merit.
I mean, yeah, maybe it plays a little bit, but I think overall, here's the thing, like, people don't want to play the Cardinals this week. They're scared to death because they understand Kyler Murray is not a fun quarterback to roster. It's like, do I play Kyler Murray at 7-3 or do I play Lamar or Allen or Mahomes for like $800 more? Like, but they're playing Seattle, man. It's anyone against Seattle. I mean, if I'm out there at quarterback with Holden playing receiver, Spreads playing, the slot, like, I mean, I'd roster me. I think I'd give myself a chance. Like, it's just bad. Like, this Seattle team is not good. It's so bad defensively that you have to like this Cardinal side of the ball. And then the one thing that's nice too, Seattle's defense just ain't bad. Their offense is good enough where they're able to like put pressure on the other team and like keep the game moving and have it interact, right? That's what we want. That's why people like Lions games, especially when they're in the dome. That's one reason why they're good, because defense isn't good, but the offense good enough to be able to move the ball. So that's why we got to consider this Seattle team. Kenneth Walker is going to be very chalky at 5.4K. I think he's a really good option. Curious how much DJ Dallas will really disrupt that backfield. I don't think it'll be that much, but I think Kenneth Walker is really good play. Going to be a cash option that we're all looking at in cash games. Could get too high in, could get a little too high in tournaments, but I don't know. Running back chalk is good chalk, right? Like, sometimes it's good to just eat it and then find the receiver spots to get a little different because of what their ceilings could be. DK Metcalf at 6'8", we know what his ceiling can be. Lockett's 5'6". Lockett's going to come in way higher owned. He's going to be chalkier because that price just hasn't moved. He's been solid the last couple of weeks as chalk, assuming to come in still and just be a chalky option. DK Metcalf, another great pivot at 6.8K that could have a monster game. If you want to go cheap at quarterback, Geno Smith is probably one of the cheap ones to consider. I don't know how much I'm going to go cheap at quarterback, but he will be the guy I think that people gravitate towards. If it's not like a Brady, it's going to be Geno. And it's just because, hey, they're playing against the Cardinals. You know how bad that team is. It's a 51 total. So I do think Geno becomes the highest owned quarterback below the 6K range.
Okay. We got one more game left. Let me remind everybody, like button would be great. Even if you are watching this on tape delay. That's the first thing. Second of all, make sure you subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel, bottom right-hand corner. You'll get a chance to watch all of our shows. You'll get notifications for that too. Spencer Smith, Holden is spread related to Dexter. He really doesn't murder people. It's just a bit that I started on the Old Guys Pod because
did you start it or did JT?
No, I did, definitely.
Okay.
JT can't think of stuff like that.
I thought he started it. Are you sure you're not?
Go back and watch the tape and I'll guarantee you I started. I think I might have
started. First of all,
the show.
Does Travis even know what we're talking about when
today.
we say tape? Does he even know what we're talking about when we say tape? Does he know that they actually used to record and you'd have to?
Yeah, I know that. You say, I guess, watch the tape. Of course. Spread. I played football. I would watch tape.
Actual tape?
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it was like a VCR thing you'd plug in.
A VCR. Okay. Well, you're older than I realized, Travis.
VCR.
Yeah, we would go and sit down. They'd plug it in, push it in the thing, and we'd watch the tape of the games and everything.
What year were you born, Mangone?
1990. So
you remember cassette tapes, or you just missed that?
CDs kind of came out in 90, 91.
I remember cassette tapes. I wasn't using them like a lot, right. But I was using like a Walkman, not a cassette tape. I was using the Walkmans more.
So you never gave a girl a mixed cassette tape?
No, I never. What I did was, if I ever wanted any CDs burned with on LimeWire and stuff like that, I just had the girls.
LimeWire.
I'd be like, I'd be like, can you make me a CD? And they'd make me one. I never had to
you weren't giving them out. You were receiving them.
Yeah, I was receiving them. I wasn't.
Wow. Look at this guy.
You know what I really
making
want?
These mixtapes, Holden.
Yeah. We need Run
trying
Pure
to be
Sports.
Romantic, and Travis is just like, hey, bring it to me.
We need a Run Pure Sports MySpace page. I don't know. I've never had one.
I had MySpace.
You didn't?
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, we were just a little old for that, but that's how you got laid back in the day.
I will say, you know who does actually, you'll love this segment, guys. Big T has his old mixtapes and he's played them on shows. We've done shows and listened to his old mixtapes that he played.
What's on them? Like kid songs or what?
No, they're
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
They're Boys the Man and were they the romantic ones or were they
there's the love makers are on there. You've never seen it?
Oh wow.
We gotta get Big T to do another one of those shows where he just goes through his mixtapes. It's gold.
Caesar's an old fucker too. What's up, Caesar? Make sure you check out the Old Guy Pod. It'll be on tomorrow. It'll be great. JT's not going to be there tonight. Spread. G Ryzen might stop by. It's me, you, and Uncle T for now, though. We got Thursday night football. Let's face it, no one's excited about this, but there's still money to be made. So let's. I guess we got to talk. You know what? The only team that I would be less excited about talking about on a nationally televised game will be the Broncos, and they get Monday Night Football again this week. So thanks for selling the false hope, everybody. This is basically a pick 'em right now. Yeah, it's a pick 'em. So 38 is the total. What do we want to do? Games in Chicago. Wentz, Fields. Can we see a high scoring game just to shock everybody? Because these defenses aren't that great.
I don't think so. Mainly because the Bears love to run the ball, right? And then I don't know. I might have a hotter take in this game. Like I think the Bears are like the way better team. Like I think this line is like wrong. Like I think the Bears should be like -2.5 or even 3. Like it's just I don't like this Commanders team right now. I mean, they can move the ball, right? Like DFS wise is totally different than like betting, but I just think that the Bears, I kind of agree with like a little bit of what Big T said. Like they've kind of been given like a bad like hand that they've been dealt with some of these games that they've had to play in. Not saying I'm buying in this Bears offense. It's not what I'm saying, but I don't like this Commanders team and the way it's kind of constructed right now. So I'm kind of just thinking grab the home team here and kind of on a short week, right? And just kind of pray. And the reason why, like last week, I didn't love doing that. I know people like playing the Broncos and it felt trendy, but the Broncos, like Russell Wilson, I said it, his shoulder was hurt. Like he had a hurt shoulder. And I know a lot of people are now saying, oh, he's like, yeah, maybe he is playing it up a little bit because he's been playing so bad, but he was on the injury report last week for a messed up shoulder. It is a fact that was happened before the game. And that's why I thought, hey, he might look really, really bad. We don't know how he'll look. It could be a disaster. I do think the Bears could look a little better than what we've seen. So they impressed a little bit against the Vikings. I think I was impressed that they were hanging in there longer than they were. It was a division game, right? This isn't a division game. So sometimes that's what happens in division rival games like Houston and the Jaguars. You know, Houston just pulls off an upset. But overall, I think the Bears are the better team than the Redskins than the Commanders. I'm not a big believer in Carson Wentz. We know Carson Wentz, he will make mistakes and he'll make them late in the game. And that's why I think with it being a pick 'em, I'm going to bet on, if it's close, I got the opportunity for the Bears to be able to get the job done, or I got the opportunity that Carson Wentz makes a mistake.
Spread. Do you want to bet on this game?
Holden, I tried to place a bet on this game. They rejected the bet. I read the error message. It was the number for Gamblers Anonymous.
Not good. Not good, was it?
I really don't have a lot on this game. I don't think it's fun. I'm a little worried there that the Bears are going to be the public trend. I think the Commanders are probably better than their record looks. They could have beat the Titans last week. I think things are different if he doesn't blow that throw. But like Travis says, he always blows that throw. So I think this is a really tough game. Your numbers are going to tell you to take Washington. I don't want to do it. The numbers are going to tell you take the over, but every single primetime game seems to go under. So if you really had to pin me down, I'm going to go ahead and I'll take the under in this game because every Thursday night game goes under. And I'm going to be really curious after last week's debacle. Sorry to Denver Broncos fans. Are the ratings going to go down? I mean, is Amazon tracking this? I know it's not the typical ratings, but I wonder how many people tune in or maybe say, you know what? I'm going to watch football on Saturday for college. I'm definitely watching on Sunday when the Bills play the Chiefs, and then we got the Eagles and the Cowboys after that. Why don't I take my wife out tonight? Why don't I do something with the kids tonight, right? It'd be really interesting to see if the numbers drop. I mean, I think that, we were sick for watching that game last week. Do I want that same feeling at 9:30 p.m. when I turn off Amazon Prime?
I'll watch it.
Spread. This is what you do. You take the wife out tonight and you say, honey, I'm going to skip watching Wednesday Night Football to hang out with you. That's what you say. Right?
God,
I think I'd rather watch the Maction or whatever's going on tonight.
Just tell her, just be like, hey, Wednesday Night Football, Tuesday Night Football. We're not watching that tonight. We're going to go out tonight because that.
And I'm impressed that you think that somebody would marry me, but I'll keep taking these compliments.
So we're done. That'll do that. Strong finish, boys. Yeah, defense and kickers again. Just both defenses, both kickers play all in the captain spot. You get 23 pass attempts from Justin Fields. Wentz could have a big game because they're a shitty defense, but I'm not putting my trust in Carson Wentz. No way in hell. Okay, guys.
I mean, think about this, right? If this was Sunday, would you bet it?
No, I'm not betting it.
It wouldn't have been on the sheet either. I mean,
no,
even Travis wouldn't have selected this game to mess with me.
Well, yeah, that's Thursday. Most of the games
I don't select this game. We always put the Thursday game on here.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if it was a Sunday game, I mean, we might just not even talk about it on the Friday show. I mean, if it was a Sunday game. I'm fine
not talking about it. I don't even know who told us to do the Thursday night game. But if there's shitty games like this, should we just get rid of it?
No, we have to talk about it. We can get these jokes off.
This is painful.
Nah, it's. I mean, hey, someone's gonna win some money, right?
Yeah, and I'll bet you our showdown crew is gonna crush regardless. I mean, I
Saints,
really think
Cardinals. Here's what we got next, though. We actually got decent games. Saints, Cardinals, Ravens, Bucks. That'll be a good one, right? Falcons, Panthers won't be a good one. Not looking forward to that. We got Bills at Patriots. All right, there's a couple good games coming up at least. Jags at Jets. Maybe the Jags will be a little bit better again, but that'll do it for us. Smash the like button. That's right, Caesar. Smash it, mofos. It's going to be great. Everybody loves Mooney. He did make a great one-handed catch. I went back and watched that game on YouTube this morning. It's a good 14-minute video. It just catches you up on everything. It's a lot of fun. Mangone, what's the next show you're on, buddy? What do we got?
You will not see me on the you won't see me on the show on Friday, Holden. You'll have Title instead, talking cash with Hoop. So my next show is going to actually be Sunday. I'll be doing the Sunday Night Showdown show. And that's always a good time. We break it down here right after the games around 7:30. We talk about the Sunday Night Football game. We break it down. Sometimes Big T hops on. It's always a good time. So be sure to check that out, but also check out the cash show. Title will do a great job. Well, I'm golfing with Uncle T and Big T and old JSU. Should be a fun weekend with them.
Okay, very good. Spread. Talk
Holden,
about these
I'm glad you
NBA
asked.
previews.
25 minutes. I will be on with AP, and we're sending out some links to some other team members. Maybe we'll have some cameo appearances as well. You know, if you're a Run Pure member, there'll be a link in your inbox. You don't have to stay for the whole show. Just jump on, fire off a hot take, tell Holden why the Nuggets will save the Denver sports landscape, and then, jump off. But anyways, we did a great show yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Tyler's already digging through the weeds to find these winners. And we'll just give a general overview of all the teams. You know, this is the longest NBA offseason we've had in 3 years. So give you a quick refresher on who's moved teams, who we like, who we don't like. And boy, this Western Conference is stacked. Can't wait to break it down.
All right, guys. Terrific show. Appreciate it. Don't forget a like button on the way out. We'd love that. You're welcome for doing this show. We love doing it for us. Tyler, bet over 3.5 total field goals at plus 150 and don't watch the game. It's not a bad way of going for it. Plus both teams play on the shittiest fields in the NFL, whether it be in Washington or Chicago. It's just horrible. Although they put new sod down in Chicago. We haven't heard much. All right. I'm talking to myself. For Spread, for Mangone and Simon, I'm Holden. Thanks so much for checking this out. I'll be doing a ton of shows here from on Thursday and Friday and whatever. And check out the Old Guys pod dropping tomorrow. Simon, get us out of here, please.